What's up, everybody? Eric here with another EWE Reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing Madame Web. Before we get into that, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, let me know what you want me to review next. But yeah, this is my spoiler-free review for Madame Web. I wish I could say more. I wish I could put spoilers in this, but there's really no point, guys. So yeah, this is Madame Web. This is a PG-13 movie. This came out on February 14, 2024. It is a superhero film that's in the Spider-Man universe. But just to be clear, this is not part of the MCU. This is part of Sony's crap. And the reason I say Sony's crap is Venom 2 and Morbius, not good. Even though I haven't watched Morbius, I might do that just so I can get a review out of it. But yeah, Venom 2 wasn't good. I liked the first Venom film. To me, it was maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10. But yeah, the other movies so far, no good. All right. And this had a budget of $80 million. So it's on the lower end of budgets, but... And so far, it's had 6.1 million as of February 15, 2024. I saw this on opening day, the 14th, Valentine's Day, so that's how I spent mine. And the director of this film is S.J. Clarkson. It's her directorial debut. I don't know why I can't say the word. And the cast includes Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced, Celeste O'Connor, Tahir Rahim, and Adam Scott. And the runtime for this film is 116 minutes, and I watched this in IMAX format. It does not have a post-credit scene, but we'll talk about that later. The plot of this film is Cassandra Webb develops the power to see the future. Forced to confront revelations about her past, she forges a relationship with 3 young women bound for powerful destinies if they can all survive a deadly present. And that's as much as you need to know from the plot. I don't really want to give much away. So let's actually now move into my spoiler-free thoughts of the film. Now, I will say, we'll start off with the good. I did like seeing the girls in the suits, but you see that in the trailer, so it's like, okay, I got to see this in like IMAX format, cool. But we'll talk about that in a second and more. So it was cool seeing them in the suits, and Dakota Johnson does have some good moments when they let her be awkward. I think when she has her awkward moments, it's what she's good at as an actress. So it's good when they let her do it, but it's not enough in my opinion. And the scenes of her developing her powers are really cool because it's different for a superhero film. Because she can see in the future, it's like, oh, she sees it. It's like a flash. She goes back to like normal times. Like, oh, she sees like a deja vu. So that was really cool. And by the end of the film, you actually do feel like a bond between the 4 women, and it's like, that's really cool. If this movie was better, I could see them maybe having a sequel where it would make more sense and we actually got to see them do more. But sadly for this film, we don't get enough, in my opinion. And I'm trying to get more good, but guys, it's really hard for this film. I'm not gonna say I hated the entire film, but it's harder to pull out like what I liked in a spoiler-free way than any other way. It's like there's just not enough there for me to really say, oh, I really like this. Now let's move on to the bad. And the first thing I'm going to start with is that the marketing lies to you. Now, if you watch my Argyle review, I said the marketing made it seem like one thing, especially with so much Henry Cavill in that film. Here, the marketing made you think that, oh, you're going to see the girls in costume a lot. Truth is, what you see in the trailer of them in their costumes, there's probably only like 55 seconds of that in the entire film, and it's more like flash forwards. And I don't consider that a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but I'm just telling you, those are flash forwards. In the actual timeline of this film, they never get their powers. The 3 girls, Madame Web obviously does, but the other 3, they don't get their Spider-Women powers in this film. So if you're thinking you're going to see like, oh, a cool super fight with them and the villain, you're not getting that. So just wanted you guys to know that. And be ready for a lot of product placement by Pepsi. Now, I don't mind product placement when it's like, it's subtle. This wasn't subtle at all. You see a lot of Pepsi stuff in this film. And there's a lot of references to Spider-Man. And it gets old really quick because it's like, well, you're not Spider-Man. Why do you keep trying to be Spider-Man with all these references? Like, we all know who Spider-Man is. He has his own films. We can go watch that. You don't need to be referencing Spider-Man here. It wasn't like it was good Easter eggs. It felt forced and annoying. And then, like, even with that, there's so many coincidences in this film, including Spider-Man stuff, where it's just like, all right, guys, like, come on. Like, this is a bit too much. Like, and if you want to know, like, a big coincidence and, like, stuff like that with Spider-Man, I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not going to say it right here, but, like, go Google the name of Adam Scott's character in the film, and that's all you need to know. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. I didn't like the villain in the film. Now, if you've seen the trailer, the villain has like a Spider-Man suit-ish, a dark Spider-Man suit on, basically. Now, it's kind of like they're trying to make him seem like, oh, it's like a bad Spider-Man, but it didn't even feel like that. It was just like, oh, okay, so he's just really strong and stuff like that, and he can walk on walls. But it didn't ever feel like, oh, they're going against Spider-Man, in my opinion. It was just really weird. And then his motivations, like, the main thing is, like, I can't spoil that, but it's just, like, I'm not sure it's spoiling, but I don't want to say. His motivations at the end seem very dumb, and it just didn't work for me. And even, like, his action scenes, I didn't think were that great. He has, like, one that's, like, oh, cool, but other than that, like, the rest kind of sucked. And the action just wasn't, like, there's not that much action in this film, but what is there ain't that great. I want to say at best some of the action stuff is okay. I can't even say that it's good. It's like at best okay, and that's not something I really wanted to say, but it is what it is. And then by the end of the film, I think most people like me are going to be, I was confused because we went from Cassie being Cassie in the film to, by the end, like, even after she gets her powers initially, she's basically the Madam Web from the comics by the end of the film. It's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. She just jumped to being that version of the character. And it felt like too drastic of a jump when she was barely starting to understand her powers. And it just, I mean, not that she barely understood, but like she barely learned her powers like near the end of the film. And then out of nowhere, she is like the Madam Web from the comics. And it's just like, you guys jumped a bit too quickly there. Like a bit too quickly. It's to the point where like it wasn't subtle, and it's just like, okay, you guys just needed to do something. So like by the end, you're like, oh yeah, this is the Madam Web you guys know from the comics. And it's like, didn't really work for me if I'm being perfectly honest. So before I move on to my score, let's talk about something that was interesting to me. This movie doesn't have a post-credit scene. Now, all the other Sony Marvel films do have post-credit scenes. This one did not. And I also remember hearing that Dakota Johnson talks about that the script changed a lot after she came on. So I'm just wondering, did they know this movie was dead on arrival? Because I'm calling it right now. I don't think this movie is... I think this movie's going to flop. And I think it's going to flop hard. I think Morbius... I can't remember if Morbius... No, Morbius, I think flopped, but it wasn't like... I think it still made like 130 something million. I don't think this movie's even going to get to 100 million. I just can't see it happening. So the lack of a post-credit scene to me was just like, you know what, we just got to send the movie out. And actually, let me go back to something that was bad. And I was very disappointed that they casted Sydney Sweeney in it, because I actually think she's a really good actress. And the material they gave her sucked. I was just like, they kind of just made her be like, oh, a hot teen. And here's another thing. Sydney Sweeney doesn't look like a teen. Like, sorry. She does not look like a teen. So it's just like that. In like even the other girls, I'm like, maybe they could pass for like 2021. I know one of them is 22, but they all look older than teenagers. It's like, come on, guys. Like, if you want to have like a movie with teenage girls that in the end, they don't really need to do much action stuff. Like, you should just grab teens. You didn't need to grab these older adult actors. Like, you just put one of their names on it, but you never actually used them in a way that actually mattered. It was very disappointing in that aspect. So yeah, I think this movie was dead on arrival. I doubt it's going to get a sequel. Part of me is still like, can Spider-Man rights go to Disney? But at the same time, I think Disney would just overdo it with Spider-Man stuff, so probably not the best thing. But yeah. All right, guys. So let's move on now to my score. And as you can tell, I am very negative about this film. So let's go with a 4 out of 10 for bad. Because I was trying to convince myself that it was mediocre, but the more I kept thinking about it, the more it's just like, it's just bad. It's like, this isn't good. I mean, this isn't even mediocre. It's just like, what were we even trying to do? I don't know who this film is for. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. This movie was not for me, so I don't know who it's for. But yeah, guys, I do not recommend you go watch this. You could probably go watch something else. I should have gone and watched Mean Girls instead. I've been actually wanting to watch that, and I didn't. So mistakes were made. But yeah, guys, the next review, and I'm sorry that I've been pushing this one out, is going to be American Fiction. I still need to do the Ted review, but so many things going on in my life right now that I haven't had time to do that. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, let me know what you guys thought. And yeah, have a good rest of your day.